ended up making it all the way in 50 days, 2,000 kilometers, and she is now living on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. So you say, so what? Well, what this does is it links populations. It links the foraging population in northern Great Barrier Reef with the nesting population in Moso Island. If you don't protect them on the Great Barrier Reef and on Moso Island, you're going to have an impact on the population. And that helps us to convince the villagers, the people that live on Moso Island, hey, you know, you really need to conserve these animals so that you don't impact this foraging population in other parts of the world. And so that's what this is all about. And that's the paper that the students are preparing to present in Charleston, South Carolina in February. We also, in addition to doing the research itself, we do a sea turtle rescue program, which I'll show you about in just a minute. But here's kind of the bottom line. Students are what I call the backbone, you know, the structure of our project. Okay? Without them, we really couldn't do it. So they contribute to the actual research itself. You know, I'm not getting any younger, and carrying heavy things around, it's good to have young students, right? The workforce, okay? They learn the importance of conservation and the problems associated with things like climate change and that sort of stuff. So that it's not, they see it firsthand, see it up front, okay? And then they become familiar with technology, from satellite tagging to time depth recorders to use of drones to monitor turtle populations, all sorts of technology involved, the downloading of the data, the mapping of the turtles' tracks, and that sort of thing. They do actual research. Whether they actually do a project or not, they're involved in the research. And some write scientific papers and present them at the International Symposium that I mentioned to you. And they have contributed to the publication of over 50 journal articles over the last 31 years. Now that doesn't mean they wrote them, but they were involved in gathering the data, in providing the opportunity to get the data, or in actually writing the research itself. One of the main things we see is when they're out in the field and we're doing the work, tourists come by and they want to know what's going on. And one of the most educationally attractive things that happens then is students have to go out and tell them what's going on. Interacting with other people, explaining what they're doing and why they're doing it, is how they cement this information in their brain. And they're very good at it. They're a little reluctant at first, you know, but once they get going and they say, oh, I know something you don't, that's power. And they love to go out and interact with people. And they, of course, become a voice of conservation when they're out in the field. They can say something like, you shouldn't do this because, here's what you should do. Here's what's happening. So it's really, really satisfying to see them grow in that sense. And again, as I say, we're working with a lot of students who aren't near the ocean either. And when they go home and hear a news article about something that's happening with our oceans today, they can relate more directly. Yeah, I know what that means. And they can share that with others. We also, as I say, we have a rescue program